Hi, welcome to the conversations with Mohammed Tunkara. Today with me, I have Ibrahim Tunkara. So Ibrahim, thank you for sitting with me. For those who don't know you, if you can just please give a brief introduction of who you are and that, please.
Thanks for having me, Mohammed. I am Ibrahim Tunkara, originally from Farafenye, and lived in Tallinn for some time, and now living in Farad. But most of my time in Oregon, United States.
Okay, so thank you for that. And if you could briefly as well, educational background, and what you do today, please.
So education started in Farafenye Lower Basic School, then to Farafenye Junior, Nusrat Senior, then UTG for undergraduate degree in chemistry, and then a master's degree in chemistry at Bilkent University in Turkey. You told me that you've been to Turkey before, so
Yes.
you know how nice a country Turkey is. And then a PhD in University of Tulsa in Oklahoma, and now working at Intel Corporation as an engineer. But my research experience has mainly been on nanochemistry. Like especially for PhD, I was working on the use of nanoparticles in enhancing the solar absorption of our photovoltaic systems, like solar cells. Yeah.
That sounds quite complicated. I honestly cannot say I really understand that. So if the layman asks, what did you study? How would you say it to a layman?
Yeah, and I think that makes sense because even my mom struggles to understand.
Yeah.
I remember the first time she attended my graduation, and then it was mentioned, like how they typically call people by their titles, and then they said Dr. Ibrahim Tunkara. And for her, like being a doctor, technically, they only have one definition of a doctor. That's like being in a hospital and treating people.
Yeah.
But but like just to make it simpler, how everything about solar energy depends on the availability of sunlight.
Yeah.
So in this project, what we tried to do was enhance only the radiation from the sun that is needed by our photovoltaic systems. So you think about it, if you look at the electromagnetic spectrum, that is like the light we get from the sun, it has a lot of components. Like if you look up in the sky, all we see is just the visible section of the sun, of the complete radiation that comes from the sun.
Yeah.
So we get the visible, but what else is included? There's infrared, what we don't see. There is a UV that we don't see. There is X-ray, and there's a lot of different other light sources. So now the question is how much of those different sources or how much of those different radiation are needed by our solar system. So now, well, like I said, what we see is visible, but what makes our solar energies or what make our solar cells at home work is not what we see. It's the light that we don't see.
You don't see, yeah.
That is mainly either the infrared or visible, depending on what type of semiconductor you have in your solar device. In Gambia, most of the solar systems you use, they are like mainly silicon type solar system.
Yeah.
And
The ones on the roofs that we
most
see.
of them are silicon type because silicon is cheaper and more affordable.
Yeah.
But it comes with a price in the efficiency. Like the ones that we have on our rooftops are all silicon based solar cells, and then the conversion efficiencies for those is not so high compared to others because I think they mainly depend on the infrared section of the sunlight.
Yeah.
So they're not like the most efficient, but they're the cheapest. There's some other ones like the gallium arsenide and others. So there's different materials that you can use to make these solar panels, depending on their band gaps. But again, people tend to rely more on the much more affordable ones like the silicon type and others. So silicon works, gallium arsenide work, and a lot of other semiconductors work. But like I said, the area of the the radiation they absorb from the sun differs from one type of material to the other.
Yeah.
But there were some theories that mentioned that you can use whatever material you want. But there's a theoretical limit that solar energies cannot go beyond. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, because it's been a while since I did any literature review on this, but I think it was about 33%. So we have a lot of sun coming in, but maximum we can get is 33% conversion efficiency. So meaning the remaining 77% is gone.
But okay,
So 67, I should say.
when you look at the Gambia, we have abundance of sunlight. So do you think there will be a time in the next maybe 10, 15 years whereby you'd see solar panels being very common because in the UK I see more solar panels in the UK than in the Gambia. How is this okay?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things involved in this. We talk about cost. Like right now, they're super expensive in this. And I think Gambia definitely should be doing better than the UK because we have on average, we have like more solar radiation per day compared to most of the countries. Because I think I read somewhere the other day that countries around the equator tend to have more sunlight. Like the annual or the average solar radiation is much higher in countries around the equator, which include Gambia, than most of the other countries. And the other thing is like our how do you call it? We have sunlight almost every day at the same time. Time doesn't change here. Like you live in the UK, and then you know that in the winter, for instance, days are very short. And same is the case with the US too. In Gambia, you have like sunlight the whole year round, so it's definitely one of the countries that should be utilizing that a lot.
And it's not.
But like I said, it's expensive, and there's a lot of research working on making things more affordable. So,
in the US and Europe.
Yes, the research is done in the US and Europe, but once it's finalized, it's going to benefit the whole world, regardless of where the work was done. So, yes, but if this is done, probably then things will be more effective, and then countries like Gambia and others that cannot do their own independent research can, as usual, be a beneficiary of work done by other countries.
See, that's quite interesting. So, as a Gambian, obviously you've done well for yourself, and and it's not debatable that what you've done, anyone that reads it, it's inspiring, and it's something that the young people here should look up to and be inspired by, to see that these are things that you can do, things that you talk here, listen. I mean, I went to university as well, but like I have to really pay attention to understand what you're saying. So that goes without saying that you're very smart. But then, so as a Gambian, do you the job that you do now and stuff? Do you see yourself being able to do this in the Gambia?
So yeah, I was actually going to talk about my research. So what I said was just the introduction about how this solar conversion happens. And where my research comes in. So the research that I did was mainly because, like I said, we just convert a certain section of the sunlight. Right now, the efficiency of solar is mainly around 20%. We utilize only 20% of the overall sunshine that gets to our solar systems. But the remaining 80 or more than that is always lost. So my research, which was sponsored by the United States Department of Energy, there's a subsection called RPE, that's Advanced Research Project Agencies, which was initiated by Obama. So in this project, what we tried to do was, okay, we have a maximum conversion efficiency of 20, but what happened to the 80%? So our goal was, me as a chemist, and I work with physicists, material scientists, all within the university, but we also have some external collaborators like Kojandra based in California and then other companies. So the goal was to come up with a system that utilizes the entire sunlight, not just the 20% that we use. And how we were going to do that was to have these spectral filters. Like we have these nanoparticle based filters that can look at the incoming sunlight, then picks up whatever is not needed, and then only let go of what is needed. In that case, like our solar cells are not going to be getting overheated because they only get what they need. The remainder of the sun is being captured by these nanoparticles as heat. And the goal was to use that heat to generate enough steam to move steam turbines. You have to stop turbines before. So there's some turbines that move with wind. There's wind turbines, but there's also steam turbines that move because of steam. So what we were going to do was like have a system that was transparent only to the light that was needed by our solar cells. In that case, our solar cells, like the rooftops, solar panels on the rooftops are not getting so overly heated. But also the light that we absorb through the help of those nanoparticles, we wanted to utilize them to, generate enough steam or enough heat that can, generate steam for driving steam turbines. So that was the project that I did. And in the end of the day, like we're gonna have two conversions. One is gonna be a direct photovoltaic conversion, that is the normal solar cells. But the other one was also like the efficiency of the heat that we're generating. So it was gonna be like we call it like a photovoltaic fraction and a dispatchable thermal fraction.
That's quite complicated. That's quite complicated. Wow, that is quite complicated and impressive at the same time. So then my question leads to, okay, we are in the Gambia right now. So you're here on holiday and you're going back soon. The last time you were here and this time, have you noticed any differences?
Yeah, last time probably there wasn't a lot of difference because it's been just about a year since I came.
Yeah.
So 1 year is too short, I think. But before last year, I didn't come for about 9 years.
Okay.
So if you ask me,
Yeah.
I will tell you yes, there is a big difference between 2000 and I think 12 when I started traveling, from 2012
Yeah.
to last year that I came.
Yeah.
I can tell you there was a huge difference. Now, to start with, I'll say things have gotten super more expensive in this country.
Yeah.
Things have gotten way more expensive.
Yeah.
But I've also seen a lot of changes in the lifestyle of people here. So people have also gotten way more better. Now the thing is, typically, when things get so expensive in a country,
Yeah.
you expect, people to start suffer or going hungry or things like that. But to my surprise, when I came to Gambia, I know things have gotten so much expensive.
Yeah.
But I've also seen very hardworking Gambians that are able to match the living expectations of this country.
Yeah.
It's hard, but they're surviving.
So,
And there is nobody that I've seen that has gone down from where they were. Everybody's moving up.
yeah.
So I went to the same houses that I used to visit when I was here. And this is me that live in Farado, which is like a not super, like I would call it remote, right? It's a village.
Yeah, I understand it.
Even at the village level, I see people who were living in a much worse situation than they are now living in. So it's like their life has improved a lot.
Yeah.
How it happened, I think one can argue through the backway. A lot of people have traveled also between then and now.
Yes. Yeah.
Backway definitely contributed to this. But on top of that too, I think education, university education, people have been more responsible for their lives.
Yeah.
They're learning skills, going to universities, some working for the government, others having their own businesses. So I've seen both sides of it. Yeah, because I don't want somebody listening to this thinking that I'm only talking about the people that I met at the UT.
Yeah.
I'm talking at the village level too. I've seen a lot of improvement. People have definitely opened their lives.
Yes.
Things have gotten way more expensive, but buildings are getting nicer. Very good structures. I saw houses that didn't have fence at the time. Now everything is fenced.
Yeah.
People building solid houses. Yes, like I said, it's expensive. But when I came last year, that was very different from the Gambia that I used to hear on social media. I thought everything was definitely bad in this country, but then I agree that things, especially from the government side, a lot of improvement is needed.
Yeah.
But I also think there's a little bit of exaggeration on how this is mentioned in the media. It's just a little bit of exaggeration.
I agree 100%. Myself, like, I can say someone who's almost based in the Gambia now. When you look at Facebook, they literally make you just cancel all of your plans of coming back to the Gambia because it's all doomsday, So, but of course, when you're on the ground, it's completely different. So I think I agree 100% with your point that we over exaggerate things, and where that comes from.
And like I think we talked about this earlier when we met. So there is this friend of mine that I met at the UTG. He's an American guy, a white guy.
Yeah.
But we became friends at the UTG because he was here for an exchange student, and that was about I think it was 2008.
Yeah.
So when he came, he explored the Gambia. He went to a lot of different villages, a lot of different places, including Senegambia.
Yeah.
So he liked the Gambia since then. So this time when I told him that I was coming to a vacation, he decided to come join me with his wife.
Yeah.
So when they came, within a few days of being here, he told me, no, this is not the Gambia that I left here. He said Gambia has changed a lot.
Yeah.
Now, cleanliness, we can definitely do better.
Yeah.
The country hasn't gotten cleaner, I think.
Yeah.
KMC too, I heard it was getting very clean, but no, that's not always true. At least for what I've seen. I've been to the market, I've been to places, and I think
they are doing some stuff. You see people in the evenings cleaning and stuff. I've never seen that before. They are doing.
No, I mean, probably they're doing that. But at least in the market, maybe from the government side, yes, they're doing it. But at our individual levels, people are just being so much reckless about the environment.
Yes, 100%.
I've seen people throwing stuff the same way that they used to do when I was here.
Yes.
So my friend didn't talk about that, but he did tell me that he's seen Gambia being so different from how he, left it when he was here in 2008.
Yeah.
So, infrastructure-wise, a lot of things have happened.
Yeah.
And this is not just a credit I'm giving to the government. I think we are taking up the responsibility as individuals to develop our society, and I think it's very commendable of Gambians.
I agree. That's something where we can both agree. And in terms of where you are, there's a lot of things that you can say to inspire the younger generation as well. So obviously, my question to you now is, how do you think we can elevate the status? So create a middle class? Because at the moment it seems like it's all through remittances from people in the diaspora, and of course the backway has contributed. Unfortunately, a lot of people have died.
Yeah.
But on the other side as well, those that have made it a lot of them have uplifted the lives of their family members here, which is also a driver for many other to embark on this journey.
Right.
So sadly, but to you now, as someone in the who's PhD, I think that's the floor, that's the ceiling when it comes to the academics. So, and of course, you've done very well in terms of the job you're doing. But looking back, what advice would you give the young people today in terms of what advice would you give back basically on how we can bring up youths that do not have to see the back way as the only way out of the poverty that they're in?
So the back way is a very unfortunate circumstance. And honestly, it's hard to blame the youth for taking that, because if you live in a country where the youths are not employed, or where the youths feel that they don't have a part to play in, then it only makes sense that they venture into whatever they believe makes their lives better. So, and I definitely feel it for people that have to lost their relatives via this backway route. So I really feel it for them, and I'm extending my condolences to all the families affected by this. But again, people are not being very honest, I think, especially people like you and I that came from abroad. We've seen people that will go there for 3 years, and then come here for holidays, gather everything that they have, and when they're here, they're showing up life that they don't actually live in the West.
Yes.
So, and when this happens, then you see others that used to be their friends thinking, oh my God, look at this guy, he's been there just for 2 years, and now he's building all this stuff, coming up, all these cars, which is all good. But the question that we mostly don't ask is, how are they able to do this?
Yes.
So this we only come to know when we take this risk, make it all the way to Europe, and that's when we see the reality, and we're like, oh man, I never had to take this journey.
Yes.
So yes, so there's a lot of contributing factors for this. People are embarking on this because they don't have a job, but because there's also a lot of social pressures from the community. People are being, lambasted, or people are being, said all sorts of things just because they couldn't build a house like their 8 mates are doing.
Yeah.
So they're now taking up themselves to go via this route just to make their lives better and help their aging parents. But if you ask me, I think nothing is worth taking this back way.
Yeah, I agree.
For a lot of different reasons. Accidents happening all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see a family of 4 people, 5 people dying on the same boat.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely very, very unfortunate. Now the government has a role to play on this. A country like the Gambia, where you have a very huge amount, where the youth makes up most of the population.
Yeah.
But what exactly is the government doing for the youth? So, think about it. Like we talked about earlier, there's this OIC project.
Yeah.
You see a lot of people working there. How many of them are Gambians? I don't even know.
Probably few.
Well, yeah, and honestly, because I didn't talk to them, but I'm just assuming that it's only few, because I don't know, or if it happens, I'm not aware of a Gambia owning a road construction company.
Yeah.
Maybe there's, I don't know, but even if they have it, I don't think they have enough Gambians for all these different road projects going on in this country.
Yeah.
So maybe what the government can even do better was to prepare the youth for this.
Yes.
If you have something as big as this OIC project, you have a responsibility to prepare the youth for this project.
Yes.
Gambians want to work. I agree that they don't want to do just any job.
Yes.
But this is a very honorable job.
Yes, of course.
So what you can do in this kind of project is, how about in the budget or whatever. Now, and this is not me, I'm not an expert in this field actually, it's just what I think.
Your opinion, yes.
It's an opinion, and somebody may not agree with this, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But what I thought was the government could have prepared the youth more for this.
Yes.
Provide them with the skills.
Yes.
Train them such that when such a project happens, 90% or 99% of it constitute Gambian youths working on the roads, and then pay them enough.
Yes.
Because if you get this project from OIC, they themselves know how much laborers for this kind of project are expected to pay.
Yeah.
So pay them on those rates.
Yes.
So I think if the government prepared youth for those things, and just a few weeks ago, my friend and I, Bakari, he's also from the US, he invited me to a TAF Connect.
Yes.
So I went there and I was really impressed with the work that by the work that this guy is doing TAF. I think he was graduating 350 people that he trained on skills.
Yes.
Skills, right?
Yes.
So he's not even teaching them like PhD or whatever, just like skills and how to build, and then just kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So think about the impact that it's going to have on these people's life. Because now we live in a Gambia where people are competing for story buildings, where people are competing for real estates. So people are competing for all this different nice stuff, but you don't have people to build them. So therefore, tough graduating those 350, students is helping them, with skill set that they're going to need for the rest of their lives.
100%.
So I think, definitely. I think, yes, youths just don't have to think about it this way. Backway is good, Europe is good, but they don't also have to lose
lives.
Yeah, they don't have to risk their life in that journey, but they also have to feel that they cannot make it
without that.
Yeah, they cannot make it in the Gambia. They can definitely make it in here. All they need is just the skill set, and then start from the very little that they can start with until bigger things, you know.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So that's the skills part. Well, what if the academic side as well? What advice would you give? Because obviously you have some experience with the education system. You went to UTG. So do you think the current route is fit for purpose when it comes to education? Do you think the route that the students have available to them is fit for purpose, or what needs to be done to change things?
Yeah, so I think the UTG is definitely different from. No, I mean I'm gonna talk about the UTG because probably that's the only institution that I know, and I think it's also the leading university in this country.
Yeah.
So when it came up, the options weren't many. There was no master's degree program, bachelor's degree program on only a very limited area. But now over the years things have changed a lot. We're introducing more areas of study, more classes, more of everything. So if the question is about what the government is doing or what our education system currently do, I think that's definitely there's been a lot of improvement on that in that front. So now we have engineering even coming up. So these were things that were not taught at the time. I think the closest we had was computer science. The rest was only maths, chemistry, physics, all those kind of stuff. So I think it is good. And I think one thing that is definitely missing in the system is research.
Yes.
I know lecturers that have been here fighting the system for so long, trying to get to tools that they need to do research. Now, in the US and other advanced countries, typically government offices provide these instruments, but it's also on the lecturers to write grants proposals and then get their instruments through those grants. Now, that is not happening, but probably because if you're a lecturer and don't have any tools, I don't know what kind of convincing grant you can write to get something. So I think the government just needs to start something and then let the university lecturers do the rest. But for now, I think our standard of education is good. Theoretically, we're excellent. We can compete at any level. But when it comes to experience, I think research, we're not so much, we are not so much, I would say we are not yet there. So we need definitely to work on that. The government need to provide those tools, provide the equipment, the scientific equipments, help the lecturers with the materials that they need to conduct their researches, in the best possible manner.
So this leads me to ask, for people like yourselves who've been through the academic system and then find yourself in very decent jobs and stuff like that. So what would it take to get you to come back home and either work here or start a business? What would it take to bring you here, to bring you back?
So that's a very common question. A lot of people have asked me this. And I think, yes, we are all, at least for the people that I talk with, most of us will be happy to come back and work in this country. But there's also this thing that I wanted to mention. For the work that is needed to move this country forward, I think that doesn't require me to move an inch from the US. The Gambia is full of smart people. And when I come here, the work that I do, most of it, you already have Gambians here that can do even better than that. There's education, but there's also experience. So you have people that are based here, super experienced. Now, and if people like me and others were to leave our jobs in the US and come back here, then there's going to be a very big competition in this very small market, Gambia. Like, we don't have a lot of offices, we don't have a lot of facilities, unless we're coming to invest like you're doing, which I really commend you for. But I think we just have to be logical. Governments can stay there, but I think the condition is, what can we do just to move this country forward? And that doesn't only require us to come back. I know it would be nice, but I believe that we still have people that are very, very capable. A lot of us stayed, but a lot of us also came. Now, when people ask me this question of what will it take to come back to this country, I always think about it. We already have people here. Go ask them, how are they feeling the system? When they came back from studies, how have they been absorbed in the system? What have they been doing in this country? How have their works been appreciated in this country? So to me, that always be the answers, that's what I'm going to tell you. So first, you see people, like during my vacation, I've traveled and I've seen a lot of my friends in their offices. They're doing exceptionally well. They're directors, they're working in these big offices. Now, but the question is, but I've also seen some of my other colleagues that are equally talented struggling in their offices because somebody see them as a threat. Probably somebody, a relatively older guy, think that this guy is coming to take over. So there's that internal competition. In the US, we talk about institutional racism. In the Gambia, we're going to call it racism because it's within us. But maybe if there's a word for it, I don't know. But the different, there's kind of insecurity among from the older folks thinking that the younger one are first for them when we could have just worked together as a country and then help to move this country forward. So yes, for me personally, I always look at my friends and I talk to them. I'm always in constant communication. The ones that are doing well, I'm really happy for them.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think about the others that are also here, equally deserving and doing so well, giving it all, and not still getting the recognition that they deserve. Now, the other thing that I also wanted to talk about is people, when you bring in people from the West, and this doesn't even have to be Gambia, anybody that you moved from this country to another, to come work for you, you need to guarantee their safety. But you also need to, give them the assurance that they're gonna, when they leave their job, they're not gonna be here begging for, fish money or whatever. So that's the thing. Now, in the Gambia, there's a lot of insecurity, like we talked about earlier. There's a lot of insecurities, right? Let's say you were in the US, UK, doing so well in the UK, and then let's say the president or somebody, whoever it is, wanted you to come work for the government. So yet you are here, but then the question is, you're working so hard, but what happens when there's change of government? So you see that insecurity is always in the minds of people. People are like, okay, I'm going to be in the Gambia, I'm needed by the government, I'm needed by the president, I'm going to travel, pack all my things, including my family and all the ones that I have here, all the law funds, pack them, come with them to the Gambia. Now you're sacrificing not just your life, but the life of your even families, including the very innocent kids. So you pack up your things, come to the Gambia, working so hard because this is a government. This government is not guaranteed to stay in power for a long time. Now the government, probably, let's say, somebody in the government may not be performing well, but you as an employee, you're doing exceptionally well. Let's say you're a minister or something, you're whatever. Then 2 years later, there's going to be an election. Let's say they don't like the president. What happens if the president loses that job? We've seen people, because like in the Gambia, we have a system where, you're the president, but when you leave, the next person come with their entire cabinet, they form their own cabinet. They don't even try to, in some instances, when you recruit
reuse people,
when you try to recruit experienced people, it becomes a problem. Now, just as a disclaimer, just to make a disclaimer, I'm not in for any political party. I don't even try to comment on political, but I'm just talking about things from a common sense point of view. So let's say if Barrow brought you here to work for the government, you're doing so well, and assuming Barrow is 100% bad, we want him out, let's say. So, but the opposition, once they get Barrow out, you're going to have a new president, but probably the entire cabinet is going to change. So where does that leave you and others that sacrifice everything that you had and come to this country? Because these political parties are big and they all have a lot of qualified people. So when they come, they also want to reward those people for the sacrifices they've done for their parties. So that's why, like me, if Barrow was to offer me something, then the question is, how long am I going to be in this job? Because I'm always thinking of what's going to happen when Barrow leaves. If, let's say, Jammeh was the president and he hires me, I was also going to think of the same. What happens when Jammeh leaves office? So that's why typically, like that level of insecurity, that's why for me, it doesn't matter how much you pay me. What I find more valuable is how much job security are going to guarantee me. Because when I leave my country, I want to make sure that when I come here, I don't have to beg on the street. I want to make sure that I have a stable job. Because what's going to happen is, if I'm working for the government and then feel that my position is insecure, I can be fired any day. Or I can be laid off when the next government comes in. What does that bring in? It's corruption. Because then I'm in this office, but thinking about tomorrow there's going to be a change of government, and tomorrow I wouldn't be in the same office that I'm serving. So that means what I'm going to do is start to steal from the public funds. Just because I also have a family that I need to protect. And I don't want to move from riches to rags, right? Because we talk about rags to riches, but this time it's from riches to rags. Right? So I don't want to do that too. So what I'm going to do, because I sacrifice everything that I had here, then I'll start steal from the government coffers. I want to prepare for my future. I want to start to have a business from the government funds. And that's why I think what is not helping with corruption. So insecurity is one thing that Gambians, typically have. And then I think the government or the Gambians in general, when people are working, they need to feel secure. Now, I'm not saying somebody's getting fired because they didn't do their job. That's definitely different. But when they do their different, just a mere change of government shouldn't just change that. So that's what I think. So that's the second point. So, and I think in the Gambia too, things are getting so much, political. Things are getting so much political to the point that we don't even tend to appreciate the good work done by others. We tend to focus on the head of state. If you like him, that's fine. If you don't like him, then typically we find it even hard to give credit to other people that work under the head of state. And I'm always a believer that the head of state can be as bad as he is, but that doesn't mean that everybody else in the government is bad. So when people do something good, I know that is what they paid for. That is their responsibility to do something good. But appreciating people or congratulating them for work done doesn't just take away anything from us.
Yes.
That doesn't still make us, supporter of that party.
Yes.
Let's appreciate them, make them feel that that work that they're doing is so good.
Yeah.
At least that kind of pushes them, to go above and beyond. But if you look at the social media space right now, we talk about the good things, but our focus is mainly on the bad things.
Yes.
It's always on the bad things. And then if you even want to get like most of the clicks and the likes, you have to talk about something bad. If you say something good, nobody cares.
Yes, yeah, true.
So
true.
That's what I thought. I think people are not definitely getting praises or appreciation for the work that they do.
Yeah.
And this is not me generalizing, not 100%, but I know a lot of people don't.
No, I agree with what you said. I agree. I do agree with what you said. I agree. So it just shows that, but they talk like some would say for the status quo to change, the diaspora must come back and play an active part in changing things. I guess that's one of the reasons why as well a lot of people are calling for the diaspora to have a vote. But I mean, that's another topic. But you are of a belief that the diaspora doesn't necessarily need to be here to effect change. But I don't know, there's a lot of people, and to be honest, I am also of that belief that the diaspora need to come, but it's because mainly to bring a fresh thinking, a fresh perspective on things. So this is what I think. I don't know what you think of that.
Diversity is super important. In the US, companies compete for diversity because, like you mentioned, if you have people with different backgrounds working together, then you expect them to do things. Have different perspectives. Of different things. Discuss about them, and then come up with the best among them. So I definitely agree with you on that 100%. But here's the thing: in Gambia, when you talk about diaspora coming home, who exactly are we targeting? Because the diaspora is huge. People are with different skill sets. So now we have the people like you and others that are so much into business. It's definitely not bad to do business here. We need people that are into businesses and even to come invest if they have the opportunity to invest. But now think about it: they're gonna invest in a currency that is not stable.
Yes.
You have $1,000. Let's say that is worth $50,000 is right now. Let's say $1,000, right? $50,000 is.
Yeah.
So you invest this in the Gambia, and then let's say you make a profit of 67. I mean, let's say at the end you make a gross of 85, right?
Yes.
85,000. Obviously that means you make a profit of $35,000, right? But you're making this profit after 1 year. Now, from the time you invested to the time that you make this profit, what is the dollar? What is the dollar? The dollar to dollar conversion? Let's say $85. So technically, you're back to the same $1,000 you invested.
Yes.
So because the money is not stable, that makes it really difficult.
Yes.
But I think I agree. And this is just like very silly example, but I know there can be bigger investment with better returns.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, the dollars being unstable doesn't help much.
Yes.
And the diaspora coming, we talk about business, but that's not it all.
Yes.
We have all people that are experts, in security, expert in whatever. We definitely need their expertise. We need their expertise. Yeah. That's 100% correct, right? Yeah. But again, the only thing that I'm also a bit scared of is the competition that is going to bring in this country. I know it's going to be a healthy competition, but how many people are going to be jobless? So that's why I think there's going to be a balance. Not everybody can come home, but we can have a few businesses, at least people that want to come invest, not just to work for the government. Yeah. People that want to come invest and then create job for youths. Yeah. That will change the life of a lot of people. Yeah. But if you want to come for government jobs, then you're creating like this kind of competition, which could be even unhealthy. Right? Coming to take over other people's jobs. So exactly. Like, and instead of bringing people from the diaspora, the government can also do capacity building, right? Yeah. You train your people. This is they don't even have to travel. Yes. Nowadays, like if you want to send 10 people, how about you pay one lecturer to move from England to come train them here, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of things that can happen. But I think the diaspora coming is definitely good, and I know it's gonna be a welcome, but very welcome development. But I don't think that is the only way forward for this country. We can still move without the diaspora coming here. Yeah. So all we need is just like to have a good government. Yes. A government that think about the youths, government that is pro-youths, pro-youth development. Yeah. That's all we need. So government that will just like equip the youths with the skill set that they need. There's a lot of construction projects. You still see story buildings everywhere. Yeah. They are not even built by Gambians. Lately, I've seen Indians and other people building, which is good. Yes. Yeah. I'm not even against them, but I'm just saying that Gambians also need to be up there helping side by side. So we don't lose out. Yeah. So we benefit from those things. Yeah. I do agree, and as well, there's another side. I think there's a lot of Gambians out there. It could be here in the Gambia, and there's out there with ideas, but finance is a problem. When we were talking earlier, you mentioned something about maybe the government somehow helping financially with some of these, maybe help fund some of these projects or give soft loans and stuff like that. Because a lot of people have the ideas, but they don't have the finance to carry on with the projects. Yes, I agree. So yes, what we were talking about is investment is good, but the government also need to recognize that the diaspora is contributing a lot to this country.
Yeah.
Remittances, you're in the business sector.
700 plus million 2023.
700 plus million. That's a huge number.
This is
right?
official.
That's official. Think about the money that comes to this country through the backway.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of money coming to this country. But like, if investment is gonna be based on the money that we, make in the West. Let's say me coming with hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this. Probably then there's not gonna be any fruitful investment, right? Because we don't have it. At least I don't. And I know a lot of people don't have it too. We all want to invest in this country, but sometimes we don't have the capital. We don't have the money to do that. It's only some fortunate people that can brag of having, let's say, 50 to 100,000 in their accounts. Most of us don't have it. Now, but that doesn't mean we don't have the ideas. So the government then need to understand that, okay, people that have traveled, some of them have really ideas. And I think they can understand that through podcasts like yours, and then some of the other people being interviewed by, the different media houses. So there's some people that have this, but they don't have the capital. Maybe what I was thinking of is the government needs to create kind of a loan scheme where people can come here, get loans from the government, invest in this country, and then pay it back with interest.
Yes.
And it doesn't even have to be huge interest, because the interest that the government is already getting from that is the youths that are getting hired for these jobs.
Yes.
So I think one way that the government can help with that is provide, loans, advertise them, let Gambians in the diaspora know that, okay, if you want to invest on this, these are the documents we need, this is the guarantee we need, but if you show us a good idea, this is the money that we want to give you, and we expect you to have business, employ the youth. I'm telling you, a lot of people have ideas, but they've been sitting on those ideas for so long, waiting for funding, which may never come, because, you're in the US making a lot of money, but you have thousands of relatives there that are dying, that are not, that are still struggling. So you're sending a lot of money. You hardly save 50% or 60% of the money you save. Everything is coming here. So that makes savings hard. But once the government is, able to recognize that and come up with ways that we can get loans easily in this country and then pay back with interest, and I think that will be a win for all.
I agree. For me, I think that's a big part, and there's a lot of countries that are doing that. Even when in the UK we have Dragons, and in the US we have Shark Tank. So in Gambia, I do think we need something similar as well. Even if it's not the government doing it, let businesses have this program, because there's a lot of youth with ideas. There's a lot of, but hopefully these are things that we're talking about, and hopefully we'll talk more and more about it. But anyway, we are where we are. At least we're having conversations about this, and this is where the ideas will come, and this is where maybe becomes a light bulb moment for someone. So do you look forward to coming back Gambia every year, or what is the plan?
Yes. So for me, when I come to Gambia, it's mainly for different reasons.
Yes.
One of them is because of family. I love my family to death. So I'm from a very big extended family, and most of them live here. So it's always so nice to come see them once in a while, and I hope that they can also visit me in the year someday. But other than that too, the reason I like coming here is mainly to see friends, seek inspiration from them. I have friends that are doing exceptionally well, and each time I see them or even talk to them on the phone, I feel like wanna do something again. So like friends that I met at the UTG in particular, some of them have their own businesses here, they're doing so well. But we have others, that are not even employed, but that are also employed by the, I talked about the people that are not employed by the government, that have their own individual businesses and doing so well. But there are others also working for the government and doing exceptionally well as well. So that's why typically when people say Gambians are lazy, or I don't think that's always true. So that's why when I come here, typically I want to talk to all these different friends, people that I met from the university, people that I grew up from Farafenni, people that have different perspectives and different ideas, and talk to them about what they think. And each time I do that, I just learn something new. So that's why I want to be really close to this community, even if I don't have to come back here to work right now, but at least to know what is going on in this country and where I can invest my little money on. I haven't started any investment yet, but I think with all these learnings, with all my these friends that are trying to, that are inspiring me every day, I'm hoping that someday I can even have a more solid investment in this country that will push me to becoming more than once a year.
I agree. That's brilliant, and I really wish you well with that. And I think if many of the diaspora think like that, like you said, it goes to the point whereby say we can help change things without us actually being here. So even your money or your connections and your input in things can help change things. So thank you so much, Ibrahim, for this. I really appreciate this, and I hope this is just one of many conversations we will have in the future, inshallah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. And just as a closing remark, I just want to tell the youth that not to give up on the country itself. We can blame the government, we can talk politics, but sometimes let's just put politics aside and work for this country. There's a lot of investment opportunities. I haven't invested in this country, but I've seen people investing and they're, you know, getting good return for their money. So let's try to work, you know, with the people here. I mean, let's understand that the government may be bad, but we also have a responsibility to play in this country. You know, we don't just fold our hands and say, oh, the government should be doing this for us. You know, and that it's like applicable on a lot of things in this country. You know, trash everywhere, people throwing up, nobody's taking responsibility. Everything is the government. So a few years ago, the university built this chancery building in Brikama. It was brand new. But you go there this day, all you see is chalk marks all over, markers, the walls are so dirty. And I bet you these are not done by primary school kids.
No, adults.
So yeah, because we're not taking responsibility. And then it is us that will come back and say there's no work done here. We want to change this building. How many millions was it going to take to build another building like that again? So I think we just need to take more responsibility, understand that the government could be bad, but we also have a role to play. And when it's time for election, we just vote for whosoever we want to vote for. But and if we have opinions, we can express our opinions to the government. You know, without being rude about it. You know, say it in a nice way, because that's what conversation is. You know, talk to people. I mean, even the government, they may not do what you tell them, but they cannot know the truth. And sometimes when people hear the truth, even if they don't agree, I mean, if they don't acknowledge it in your presence, they go home and then they, you know what Mohammed said is the truth. You know, so they're listening. They may not do exactly what we want, but sometimes they listen to us. And you know, once in a while you walk and they say, oh, you know what, I said this 2 days ago and the government is doing something similar. So probably they're listening. So you see, I mean, so let's just continue to talk. You know, in a more responsible way. Let's engage each other in a much nicer way. Politics is different, and let's not, you know, put all our hopes in this for politicians. They are just politicians. They come with their promises. Some will, you know, fulfill them. Others will never fulfill them. But you know, at the end of the day, they're all gonna leave, and then you know they will come and go, serve us for a few years, go back, and the country stays as ours. So
I agree 100%. We couldn't have any better than that. Thank you so much once again, Ibrahim. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.